Your support helps us to tell the story, from reproductive rights to climate change to big tech. The Independent is on the ground when the story is developing. Whether it's investigating the financials of Elon Musk's pro-Trump PAC or producing our latest documentary, The A Word, which shines a light on the American women fighting for reproductive rights, we know how important it is to parse out the facts from the messaging. At such a critical moment in U.S. history, we need reporters on the ground. Your donation allows us to keep sending journalists to speak to both sides of the story. The Independent is trusted by Americans across the entire political spectrum. And unlike many other quality news outlets, we choose not to lock Americans out of our reporting and analysis with paywalls. We believe quality journalism should be available to everyone, paid for by those who can afford it. Your support makes all the difference. The Department of Agriculture has slashed over $1 billion in funding aimed at helping schools and food banks purchase from local farmers, according to a nonprofit. Multiple states were recently notified of these cuts. The Nonprofit School Nutrition Association said in a statement Tuesday, an estimated $660 million in funds through the Local Food for Schools program for 2025 will no longer be available to support childcare institutions and schools, the group added. This program will strengthen the food system for schools and childcare institutions by helping to build a fair, competitive, and resilient local food chain, and expand local and regional markets with an emphasis on purchasing from historically underserved producers and processors, the USDA website says about the Local Food for Schools program. The Independent has reached out to the USDA for comment. The Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education confirmed it received a notice of termination from the USDA on Friday of the second round of Local Food for Schools grant funding, an award of $12.2 million, claiming that they determined this agreement no longer effectuates agency priorities and that termination of the award is appropriate. The state's governor, Maura Healey, said in a Monday statement. The governor suggested the cuts were made as part of a Department of Government efficiency-led effort to reduce spending in the federal government. Donald Trump's Department of Agriculture has reportedly notified states that it has cut $1 billion in funding aimed at helping schools and food banks, AP. Donald Trump and Elon Musk have declared that feeding children and supporting local farmers are no longer priorities. And it's just the latest terrible cut with real impact on families across Massachusetts, said Governor Healey. There is nothing appropriate about it. Trump and Musk are continuing to withhold essential funding in violation of court orders, and our children, farmers, and small businesses are bearing the brunt of it. The Local Food Purchase Assistance Cooperative Agreement Program, which provides food to food banks and organizations that reach underserved communities, was also included in the cuts, Politico reported. The department notified states that it was unfreezing funds for existing agreements for this program, but did not plan to carry out a second round of funding for fiscal year 2025, the outlet reported. An estimated $420 million of federal funds were expected to go toward the program in 2025, the USDA website shows. A USDA spokesperson told the outlet that funding is no longer available, and those agreements will be terminated following 60-day notification. The spokesperson added, "These programs, created under the former administration via executive authority, no longer effectuate the goals of the agency. LFPA and LFPA plus agreements that were in place prior to LFPA 25, which still have substantial financial resources remaining, will continue to be in effect for the remainder of the period of performance." Last week, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker said this program can no longer operate in the state after the USDA said it was ceasing reimbursements for any costs incurred after January 19th. The same applied to the Resilient Food Systems Infrastructure Program, which aims to build resilience in the middle of the food supply chain. Reimbursement claims submitted for costs incurred after January 19th are being returned with no explanation or timeline for reimbursements to resume. The statement read, "Cutting funds for these programs is a slap in the face to Illinois farmers and the communities they feed," said Governor Pritzker. The Trump administration's refusal to release grant funds doesn't just hurt farmers in the program, it devastates our most vulnerable, food-insecure communities relying on meat, fresh produce, and other nutritious donations. Congress is also weighing cuts to school meal programs, the School Nutrition Association warned in its announcement. The nonprofit urged the public to call on Congress members to oppose these cuts. With research showing school meals are the healthiest meals Americans eat, Congress needs to invest in underfunded school meal programs rather than cut services critical to student achievement and health, said the group's president Shannon Gleave. These proposals would cause millions of children to lose access to free school meals at a time when working families are struggling with rising food costs. Meanwhile, short-staffed school nutrition teams, striving to improve menus and expand scratch cooking, would be saddled with time-consuming and costly paperwork created by new government inefficiencies. Alexis Bylander, Interim Child Nutrition Programs and Policy Director of the D.C.-based nonprofit Food Research and Action Center, said this decision has devastating impacts. The Trump administration's decision to cut funding for cooperative agreements that support schools and other organizations' ability to purchase local foods will have a devastating impact on students, schools, farmers, and local economies, Bylander said in a statement. As food costs continue to rise and schools struggle to stretch their meal budgets, now is the time to bolster efforts that improve access to affordable and healthy local foods, not gut them. Subscribe now and make The Record your daily habit. Click the subscribe button and join our community today. Your city, your news, your record. Subscribe now.